shame is so powerful. That shame is so powerful. And I think that it prevents a lot of us from being introspective. It prevents a lot of us of realizing the harm we cause. And I think it prevents a lot of us from trying to do better, whether it be the fear of getting it wrong and creating more harm, or just the fear of like, I can't open that box. Like, I think this was the conversation. I'm doing a training around how adults need to be introspective and look at themselves actually
Yeah.
with how they engage with youth. And if youth won't want to talk to them, if youth don't want to engage with them, guess what? You actually could be the problem adult. And in most cases, they are. And so I was researching case studies and I'm on YouTube Googling things and I find this clip from this old reality show. I won't name it, but let's just say it was a group of nannies that are going into
Oh,
families.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, we've talked,
Yeah, you
man.
got me. Right.
Yes.
And I watched this clip of this white cishet man, really white cishet manning, like fully toxic masculinity, the worst of the worst you could think of, just like berating and hurting and hitting and doing all of these horrible things to his kids. And of course, the whole thing's being filmed, right? And at the end of them showing us these video clips, the nanny sits down with the dad who is doing this and plays it back, is showing this person the clip. And you can see, like, on his face, the anger. His face is like almost like red, beet red with anger of like, now, I'm not this person, so I don't wanna put words into this person's mouth, even though I'm about to literally do that, but I do it
Mhm.
cautiously. To me, what I could see was like, "Why am I being lectured? Like, I shouldn't be lectured on this. What do you know? You're not a part of my family. I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm doing everything right." And sure enough, the way that the nanny phrases the question to him is, I forget how she said it, but it was essentially like, if this was a person, would you be proud of their actions? And I love that question. How beautifully articulated, right? Because it's removing himself from that environment, right? It's if it's a person you knew, right? So trying to break that wall, break that barrier. It's not you. So try to disassociate for a second. If this was someone else doing this, would you be proud of them? And all
Yeah.
the anger and the red was just like, "That's the way I was raised. I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, my dad did that to me, blah, 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 blah." And the nanny just keeps repeating the question very calmly. "I'm not talking about you. If this was a person you knew, would you be proud of them?" Say, I didn't do nothing wrong. That's the way I was raised." If this was a person you knew, would you be proud of them? And there was just this moment where the color just completely drained out of his face and it almost went in the exact opposite direction. It just became so pale and so sullen. And he just put his head down and he said, almost as a whisper, "No, I wouldn't be proud of this person." And that clip, even though it was so recent, like I just watched that a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, is the power to me. We are so socialized to do these horrible, violent things. It's what we knew, it's what we grew up in, it's what we replicate, it's what we know, it's normalized that in order to admit, right, that it's wrong, we have to admit decades of wrong. We have to admit decades of action, of hurt, of harm that we have caused, right? In
Mhm.
order for that person to admit that he would not be proud, he'd have to open a box to, I don't know how old he was, we'll just say 50, right? To potentially 50 years of doing harm. And that shame is so powerful. That shame convinces us to keep the box closed, to say, "Nope, that's the way I was raised. I didn't do anything wrong. Nope, I can't look at it." And I can't look at it, maybe not necessarily because, like, at my core, I'm a horrible, awful, evil person, right? Like, I think, matter of fact, I would think quite the opposite, that almost all of us at our core are good, loving, awesome people. But we've been surrounded, we've been normalized, we've been socialized to engage with people in these specific ways and our environments matter, right? My environment mattered to me. I replicated that harm. And in order for me to say, yeah, that's wrong, I have to look at all of the shameful ways in which I engaged. And I just think that shame prevents us from moving forward, from
Mhm.
being honest with ourselves, from being critical, from trying to be better. And I think that's a lot of what I deal with and balance with in my story.
Yeah.
Immense harm happened to me, and I turned around and I did immense harm back to people who didn't deserve it. And it took me a long time to open that box of shame and say, yeah, it was wrong and I did it, but I need to say that so I can learn, I can grow, and I can move forward. And I think opening that box was the most helpful thing I could have done on my social justice origin story.